Hey guys, Tiny here. Welcome to episode 9 of the Obsessive Viewer podcast. Thanks for joining us today. Quick note before we get started. Instead of doing what we've watched lately at the beginning and then what we're looking forward to coming up at the end, we have decided to kind of push those two segments together and then kind of put it on the end of the episode there, just kind of get things going a little bit quicker so we can get right into the topic, sort of stay focused. So I hope you guys don't mind. If you don't like it, let us know. We can change it back if you want. Just let us know how you feel about it. Speaking of letting us know, you can always reach us at ovpodcast@gmail.com. You can reach myself and Matt on Twitter. Matt is at Obsessive Viewer, and I'm at Obsessive Tiny. So let us know. Speaking of letting us know, we're still taking submissions for our most memorable theater experience. We already have a winner for the contest, but keep sending in the submissions, and if we find something we like, we'll probably read it on the air. So keep those coming. For episode number 9, we decided to talk about nostalgia movies, basically the films from our childhood and from our teen years that affected us. They affected our lives, and they remind us of a certain time in our lives, really happy memories. So I hope you guys enjoy that. Actually, if you want, you can go ahead and send us an email about your most nostalgic movies if you want. Yours will probably be similar to ours if you're our age. Speaking of that, we were joined by our good friend Mike again. We love having him on. He's been great so far. He kind of puts Matt and I to shame, so we're going to keep abusing our friendship with him and making him join us. So I hope you guys like it. Thanks.
Should I go first? I think I'll go first since I have like 5, and I know you guys have like 3.
That'll work. Oh, cool. Yeah. Are you shooting us down already? We have fewer.
I mean, I'm just 5. I'm just asserting my dominance in the group.
Exactly.
Which one of these do I want to talk about first? I wanted to go kind of chronologically, but it's kind of on the fly. But this is pointless. Let's see. One that I would be remiss if both of you guys have not seen this movie, and maybe its sequels as well. But Three Ninjas.
Yes.
Nice.
Oh, right?
Yeah. Rocky Colt Tum Tum, right?
Yes. I loved that movie, and it was. I don't know how to explain it. I remember vividly when we lived in Florida for a couple years. I remember living there, and I remember like when I think of Little Ninjas.
I'm gonna. That's the prequel.
Yeah. When I think of Three Ninjas, I just immediately think of that house and our time there. And like I remember, I have a vivid memory of when it was out in theaters, and I was at a friend's house, and we were like playing on a swing set or something, and I think I tried to lie to him about seeing it because he saw it, and I was like kind of jealous because I was a little kid, and I was like, yeah, I saw it too. And he's like, what's your favorite part? And I was like, the part where the little one kicks the guy in the balls. And because it was from the trailer, and that's the only scene that I knew, and he like saw right through me, and I was like, okay, well, this whole lying thing isn't really for me.
But everybody's actual favorite part is when they put the masks on for the first time, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Oh yeah. I love the whole training montage and everything at the beginning. It is criminal, but I do not own that movie.
That is criminal.
It is very criminal. I'm going to look that up on...
It's kind of hard to find unless you dig deep in the $5 bins.
That's true.
At Walmart. I actually got it for my brother for Christmas one year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Did you did you guys watch the sequels? Well, there were 2 sequels, right?
There
were like 3.
I think there was Three Ninjas Kick Back, Three Ninjas Knuckle Up. Now those could be interchanged, but the last one was High Noon at Mega Mountain.
Yes. I think all I saw was Kickback.
Yeah. I know that I saw Kickback and Knuckle Up, but I don't remember.
Why do you know all of those titles by heart?
That is very weird.
I don't know. I think it was.
Answer carefully.
Yeah, I don't know. That was. I'll tell you why, because it's a nostalgia movie for me as well, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So it's a big deal to me as a kid. anything ninja because of the Ninja Turtles when you're from 5 to 10 years old meant something to me. So we watched that movie a lot, and it was I paid attention to the sequels, and I guess I have a good memory. I have a really vivid memory of my childhood. That's something I don't know people know me for, but I know those movies. I love them. And Colt, I think the middle 3 ninja was in all 3 of them, right?
Was he really?
I think he's the one in all 3 of them.
That's just kind of depressing, honestly.
What else did he have to do? Though,
I remember. Wow, Tiny. I don't know if you remember this, but I remember there's this. We were at Union Jacks here in Speedway.
Mm-hmm.
You and I were because we were just there getting food and having a beer. But I remember we spent the majority of the time there just looking up, trying to figure out what the girl has done since 3 Ninjas, Rocky's girlfriend in the movie. Because that's how we spend our nights here in Speedway when we're not podcasting. Yeah. We look up obscure actresses on IMDb. But I don't think she was really in much of anything else.
Shocker.
Yeah, yeah.
So here's this. He was in all 3 of them. They filmed the 3rd one, which was Knuckle Up, before Kick Back. That's why Colt, who is his only remaining one, the consistent one, looks older in the 2nd one than he does in the 3rd one. But for whatever reason, they released the 3rd one.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
No, I didn't either. Didn't care when I was 9 years old. I was 9 when that came out.
Wow.
The 3rd one.
I think I was... during that time, I was a bigger fan of the movie Surf Ninjas.
Yeah, with Rob
More
Schneider.
So,
Rob
yes.
Schneider.
Wow.
A stapler.
Surfing waves. Doing karate.
I don't have any memory of that. And it's funny you say that because
really?
I just saw that title when I just now looked up 3 Ninjas on Amazon, which is only like $7 on Amazon.
Nice.
Surf Ninjas, Matt, maybe you remember this, had the little kid who had his Game Gear and he could like control life with his Game Gear. Like he could fight bad guys with his Game Gear.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Awesome pre-product placement.
I vaguely remember that. I remember Game Gear. That's wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't. Huh. But I think I like that movie better because they were a little bit older. They weren't quite so young, and weren't they? Wasn't part of the plot that they were basically like princes essentially, and they were part of like some kind of royal family in Asia somewhere or something like that. And I was like, that's awesome. You just wake up one day and you find out you're a prince. I don't know. I thought it was cool.
That's the plot of the Princess Diaries.
Well, that's a good one too.
But not, of course. Yeah.
Love Anne Hathaway.
When you mentioned 3 Ninjas, the first thing that popped in my mind was their grandpa, who, when it popped in my mind, I thought instantly Pat Morita.
Yeah.
Which of course it's not, but that just makes me think about a better nostalgia ninja movie. Of course. Karate Kid, for anybody who isn't aware of one of the greatest movies from the 80s.
Yes, totally.
I've still never seen it.
Really?
Wow.
Our freshman year, it was on like at
Really?
least 3 times a day. Yeah, on the
Wow.
college
I don't remember that.
channel.
Wow. All I remember is the Constant Gardener being on it and thinking, why is the Constant Gardener on this channel?
Yeah. Well, that and like Harry Potter 3 Frozen for 2 days.
Yes, I remember that.
Remember that?
Oh yeah, like that. And I don't know if I ever made this joke. I would assume that I didn't because we're still friends.
Yeah.
But like I just remember like turning it on and seeing the Constant Gardener and be like, "Yep, he's still gardening."
No, I don't remember that.
Okay, good.
That's funny.
So Tiny, what's your next one on? What's your first one on the list?
I'm actually going to go chronologically because I'm
nice.
cool. Not really, but my first one is actually a a popular classic, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That's with Megan Fox, right?
God.
Oh, jeez.
Megan Fox is in that.
The one with the aliens and stuff with
Yeah.
Michael Bay.
Yeah.
Oh God, no.
Ugh.
But the big, whenever I think of that movie, I actually think of my dad, because I'm pretty sure he hated it, because every time we would go to the video store, we'd be like, let's get Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And he'd be like, you've seen that so many times.
My grandma did the same thing. She wanted to see Home Alone, and I wanted to
Really?
see Secret of the Ooze. I said, Grandma, you're dumb, though. We're watching Ninja Turtles.
Totally. Can't go wrong, really.
No.
Yeah.
But, we actually would go to, I think this is before, this was in Speedway. This was before we even had a Blockbuster.
Oh, the giraffe. What is that?
The
place called?
red giraffe
The Red
is what it was
Giraffe.
called. Yeah. It was in a little strip mall in Speedway. Obviously, it's no longer there.
Right.
Hasn't been for well over a decade. But yeah, we would. I think we probably kept them in business with just renting Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That's awesome.
We would go get that like once a week, almost. Loved that movie. Probably should have just bought it on VHS. Ironically, I never owned it.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you own it now?
I know. I do not. I do not.
Really?
Which is also, it's a bit of a travesty. But, just a really fun... Obviously, if you watch it as an adult, it's just mainly nostalgic and you realize how kind of silly it is. But when you're a kid, it's the best thing in the world.
I'm gonna argue with you. I recently
Really?
I bought the 4-pack on DVD. I don't know, 3 years ago, whatever, and watched it maybe 2 years ago. I watched 4 of them, with the animated one at the end.
Okay.
And the first one is a good movie. It holds
Really?
up as a good movie, totally.
It's dark.
It
I
is
didn't
dark.
realize how
Yeah.
dark it was.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
it was if you take away the fact that they're grown men in turtle costumes, it's a good movie. It's a really good movie. Now, a lot of people our age use your description as a nostalgia thing for kids for the second movie, and that is not as good a movie as you remember. But if it's been a while, Tiny, since you've seen the first one, I'd watch it again because it holds up. It is still as good.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that then because I haven't watched it in quite a while. So yeah, maybe I'll feel the same way if I watch it again.
Yeah.
I vividly remember that movie scarring me for life because the part where is it Michelangelo kind of breaks from the group because he gets in an argument.
No,
and
Raphael.
Raphael. It was Raphael.
Yeah.
I knew that. He gets in an argument and breaks from the group, and then he's like on a rooftop or something, and he gets like just jumped by all these like bad guys and all that. And I was like, "Oh my, is he gonna die? Is he gonna die?"
Yeah.
Like I was legitimately like terrified, and every time I watched that scene, because again I was a huge Ninja Turtles fan,
Right.
and every time I watched that scene, it would just get me just really, really like a horrible feeling in the pit of my stomach, because I just get so nervous and scared by that. Because I mean, I think I was probably too young, because like I said, that movie's dark.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of the first movies I saw in theaters. I don't know if it was not the first. The first was The Little Mermaid, which
Awesome.
I don't remember
Nice.
at all. But that's my mom knows that's what it was. But I remember seeing that movie with my dad and coming home and loving it, being excited for it. What on 3 favorite Ninja Turtles? You ready?
All right,
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Raphael.
Michelangelo.
Shredder.
Wait.
No, Michelangelo.
Nice.
Michelangelo. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. He's the popular one.
We share a
One.
love of pizza.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Can't go wrong. There's no wrong answer for that, really.
No, that's true. Unless your answer is Leonardo.
Right.
I think I made that same joke on the last podcast.
You did.
Did you really?
With Monica.
Oh, yeah,
Friends.
unless it's Monica.
Yeah.
Right.
I may be way off base here, but is Corey Feldman the voice of
He is Donatello.
Michelangelo? Oh, Donatello. Okay.
Yep,
Yeah.
he's the voice of Donatello. And I want to say, oh man, I could be wrong. And if there's a big Ninja Turtle fan, like if Pat Kuhn is listening, he'll rip me for this. But I think Michelangelo is the only one who is the voice and the the stunt man or the guy in the suit for the.
Oh, that sounds right. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he was consistently throughout the movies both.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It is cool.
Did you guys like have the toys and action figures for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Tiny. I did.
Here's one. I'm still collecting them. I'm collecting the new ones, the new cartoons.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I just remember the big. I don't know if you guys had it, but they had that really big like inflatable blimp that was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
And it had the boxing gloves.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I wanted one. I don't think I ever had one, but I wanted one of those so bad.
Yeah, no, neither.
Probably would have popped it in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I was more into collecting Power Rangers.
Right.
Stuff.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
So. Oh man, I had them. I'm still a big. I don't know if I said that on the comic book podcast, but I'm a big action figure collector. I've got.
I don't think you did say that.
I didn't. Oh. Well, I'm a big action figure collector.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm hoping one day my fiance, I guess she'll be my wife whenever we get a new house, lets me have a room to put them in.
Wow, hang on to that one.
Yeah, I know, right? Because they're in a big bin in the basement. Just Star Wars. I have 3 of the 4 original Ninja Turtles, like 1980, whatever, 86, 87 action figures still in their box.
Wow.
3 of them.
Wow.
Yeah,
that is impressive.
I think I'm missing a Donatello. One day.
Put your kids through college with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike, what's on your list? What's top on your list?
Man, I went through a bunch of them. I considered Ninja Turtles.
Mm-hmm.
I considered Karate Kid when you said 3 ninjas. But I think my number one nostalgia movie is going to have to be The Blues Brothers.
Okay.
That was a big one for me. And I am very much a fan of all things Chicago. If you know me at all, I talk about Chicago all the time. I love
you
Chicago
actually have
sports.
a tattoo, right?
I do. Well, I have a couple Chicago tattoos, but I do.
Okay.
And the movie is set in Chicago, and it's about Chicago, and it's about being a Chicagoan in a sense. And that movie, when I was younger, was one that I wasn't particularly familiar with, but it was kind of one of the ones that like my parents and my uncles would quote all the time, and it was just kind of not familiar. I had no idea. It was like, okay, well they're just talking like uber Chicagoans about being on a mission from God or whatever. And then one year for Halloween, I might have been 8 and my brother 6. My mom suggested that we be the Blues Brothers for Halloween, and when you're that age, it's like, okay, whatever. And then she's like, well, we got to see the movie first. So we rented the movie, and it changed me. I loved it. It's more of a musical than you realize it is. The soundtrack is incredible. James Brown. They've got the band that they actually toured with. Jim Belushi actually sang. Dan Aykroyd actually sang. Carrie Fisher's in the movie. All kinds of cameos. It's just so awesome. It's a very it's very much of the 80s, and it's kind of a relic of that time period. And it's just one of those movies. When I first watched it that Halloween, I consistently watched it over and over again. Love it.
Nice. I've still never seen it.
Really?
Yeah, I'm kind of a loser that way. And Tiny, you mentioned that you weren't a huge fan of that at one point, I think. I don't know. Actually, I don't think... Yeah, anyway, you mentioned it at some point to me.
Yeah, I did. I need to watch it again. That's the biggest thing, because I think I've seen it like twice, and I'm pretty sure one of those times I was drunk.
Nice.
But I didn't dislike it. I guess I just didn't really connect with it. But I don't know. I don't remember picking up on all of the Chicago-ness of it, which I would think would make me like it because I love Chicago.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess I just need to see it again then, which I'm totally open to.
Yeah.
So. Nice. Okay.
Cool.
For my next one, I'm gonna actually double up real quick because I have a long list that after I looked up 3 Ninjas, on Amazon while we were talking about it. I added like 3 other movies to the list because I saw the related purchases.
Yeah,
but I'm going to
great.
double up on this one. Did you guys ever see the 90s movies House Arrest and Carpool?
Yes, I was just talking about House Arrest the other day with Amanda in the car.
Nice.
Yeah, she was unfamiliar, but oh man,
Wow.
Yeah.
You've got to educate her before the wedding, dude.
I guess.
I love that movie. Jamie Lee Curtis, Kevin Pollak, Christopher McDonald, I think is his name. The guy from he's a really good like character actor, I guess, but
Yeah.
he's just awesome in it. It's the movie with the kids lock their parents in the basement, and it's
Christopher McDonald
hilarious.
is Shooter McGavin.
Yes, Shooter McGavin.
From Happy Gilmore.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great movie. It's so fun. It's like, for the listeners, we're recording this in the early evening of a day that I work. I worked last night and I work tonight. I consider just staying up all day and marathoning House Arrest, Carpool, and a couple other movies I'm going to mention later. But alas, I went to sleep, so I'll watch them tomorrow.
You loser.
Yeah.
Probably the better decision.
Yeah.
Probably.
For your job and livelihood, but for your passion, you gave up on your dreams, man.
I did.
Yeah, a little bit.
I'm sorry. But Carpool, did you guys ever see that?
Never
Who's
seen
in,
that one.
Yeah, I don't know who's in that.
It's got, off the top of my head, it's got Tom Arnold. Tom Arnold, and I want to say David Paymer, if that's his name.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I own both of these movies. They're actually very proud movies in my collection. It's where David Paymer is a man with an important business meeting, and he's tasked with taking the neighborhood kids to school because his wife is sick. So the whole movie, and then they get like carjacked by Tom Arnold. And so the whole movie is them driving around town, and it's just a lot of fun. It's like on IMDb, its rating is 4.6 out of 10, and that's criminal because it's a lot of fun. They're driving around, and like David Paymer plays this like kind of just really stressed out guy who's really stressed out over this meeting, and he doesn't want to do this carpool thing, and the kids are really annoying, and like there's one like really weird kid with, I think he has like goggles or something and spiked hair.
Of course, 90s.
Oh yeah, and it's just hilarious. Like at one point they drive through a mall, and
Blues Brothers 2. They also not in Blues Brothers 2. Blues Brothers also they drive through a mall.
Yeah.
So are you trying to say that Blues Brothers ripped off of Carpool? That's not.
I'm saying
not at all.
I'm saying Carpool is a bit derivative.
It is. Well, it's a movie about a guy
Yeah.
driving kids to school, but it's also got Kim Coates. I can't pronounce.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know how to pronounce his last name.
From Sons of Anarchy.
From Sons of Anarchy, and one of the only Resident Evil movie I've seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also.
Are you
got,
talking about the one you saw with me?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Nice.
And it's also got Rachel Lee Cook.
My favorite.
Huh.
Yes.
She was my star crush for a long time.
Really? Oh,
Wow.
mine was Jennifer Love Hewitt, who was in House Arrest.
Oh yeah, she was.
Right.
Yeah.
She was.
That's a fun movie.
Apparently, according to IMDb, for the Firefly fans, Jewel Staite is in it.
Really?
Yeah, she plays soap opera actress.
In House Arrest?
Oh, in Carpool.
In Carpool, okay.
Yeah. But yeah,
Wow.
it's just a super fun, silly movie.
Okay.
I think Tom Arnold has like dreams of being in a circus or something like that. Yeah, it's fun. But did you guys have anything to say about House Arrest or Carpool, or did you want to?
I don't. We can move on because it's been so long. I never saw Carpool, and I'm not familiar.
I recommend it. I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
love-
Go ahead, sir.
I was going to say, I think House Arrest is a further perpetuation of the whole concept that kids will attach to anything that involves them, like going against their parents, or like
Yes.
like their parents are out of town, or their parents are, tied up in the basement, like House Arrest.
Right.
It's kids taking control. That's like a golden aspect of like kid nostalgia movies.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
And they had noble reasons too, because or at least the original kids did. The Beindorfs. I always loved the name. It was like the main kid was Grover Beindorf. I thought
Grover.
Grover Beindorf.
Killer name.
Wow.
And I think the movie took place in Ohio, which I lived in Ohio at the time that I watched it, and it kind of connected to me on that level.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say that the actor that played him went on to do something, but yeah, they had actual noble reasons for that. Oh yeah, he was in a sitcom or something. Kyle Howard. So yeah, who's next? Tiny, do you have?
Yes.
You wanna
Yeah.
go?
Next on my list is the perennial classic, The Mighty Ducks.
Oh,
Nice.
nice. You stole mine, you bastard.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
man.
no, not really. That's okay. I mean, it's totally one of
Okay.
mine, but go ahead. By all means.
Okay, sorry.
No.
Yeah, that movie is like I'm not like being facetious here. Like I seriously think it's one of the best sports movies ever made.
Oh, yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it just also has the added aspect of being a kids movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the kid, just as an adult, if you watch it, I think the character of Gordon Bombay is actually like a really good character. I mean, his character is the result of having kind of an borderline abusive adult in your childhood who pushes you to something, like pushes you too far at something.
Yep.
And it kind of defines you as a person.
Yep.
And it affects your life from that point forward. And
Which is so real and so easy to
Yes.
connect to.
Oh yeah.
yes, so many people
Absolutely.
had that in their lives. Yeah. And I think, Emilio Estevez isn't a great actor, but I think he does well in that. We're talking about a kid's hockey movie. It's not exactly, you don't need to be Daniel Day-Lewis, but
Right.
he embodies the character well. I think that's, as an adult, I think that's the best part of it. And then as a kid, it's just great watching other kids who are really funny, and they're, you can relate to it if you've ever played sports. I think it doesn't matter what sport it is.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that movie. It has a young Joshua Jackson as
Yes.
Charlie Conway.
It does.
Yes.
It does. And, yeah.
Yeah, it was a good movie, and I think they should. This is blasphemous, but when's Mighty Ducks 4 going to come out? Grown up Charlie Conway
Actually
coaching.
plays for the Anaheim Ducks.
Yes.
Which you guys, you guys know about that? How, of course, Mighty Ducks is a Disney movie. Disney decided to start a hockey franchise, make a team, and so they started the Anaheim Mighty Ducks.
That's awesome.
After the movie was out. Yep. And
I
then
didn't realize that it was Disney that did that. Like
It is.
I thought that it was just Anaheim was like, hey, the Mighty Ducks were awesome. Let's
Yeah.
make Mighty Ducks.
No, it was Disney, and then they sold the team. Oh, man, my years are off. I think in like 2007 or 2008, and changed. And they just dropped the Mighty, so they're the Anaheim Ducks. And then right after they changed it, they won the Stanley Cup, which is a bummer because it would have been really cool to have a Stanley Cup champion Mighty Duck T-shirt. You know what I mean?
That would have been.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
Man, I'm surprised there wasn't like a big revolt or anything
Yeah.
after they changed the name.
There was. There were people upset, but
Really?
I mean, there's
Yeah.
there's still the Ducks. I love that. I just watched that movie. I watched it the same day I watched The Breakfast Club, which is a podcast conversation coming up soon
Yes.
that Tiny and I had. So I watched it. I watched it about a month ago. Actually, after my Chicago Blackhawks 2013 Stanley Cup champions, after they won the cup a little while ago, I was like, man, I need to watch I need to watch Mighty Ducks, and I watched it.
Nice.
It's so good.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, I think in that Breakfast Club episode is where Tiny mentioned that he wasn't a big fan of Blues Brothers. That's why I was backtracking earlier. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Like,
You mean in that future episode he will mention?
Yes, yes. Which we can get into
Blues
time
Brothers.
travel kind of stuff here
Oh, yeah.
later. That's for a later podcast.
That's true.
We have plans for a good one, but
That's funny.
yeah.
But the Mighty Ducks, I actually ended up, like my brother and I, we ended up going, there was a sports, we were jocks when we were kids. I played soccer and stuff, but like there was a sports store in Speedway called Play It Again Sports.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And you could basically take your, I don't know if the chain still exists, but it was a chain, but you could take your old sports equipment there and you could trade it in for newer stuff, or
Yeah.
you could buy used stuff. It's amazing. And we bought like, secondhand hockey sticks and like street hockey pucks that like had little rollers on them, or like those little orange balls
Yeah, they're
that you
pucks,
could play hockey with.
right?
Pucks,
But
yeah,
they have
yeah.
bearings in them.
Right,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep, totally.
And like me and him and our friends, we would actually play like street hockey and stuff, like
That's
like
great.
in Wayne's World,
Yeah. Game on.
Game on. And yeah, like that's how much we loved that movie. It inspired us to play hockey, and we were probably pretty terrible, but it was just fun.
That's great.
Hockey is a sport I always wanted to get into. Hockey and baseball, but I'm not. I just don't have a sports fan brain, I guess.
I'll tell you,
Yeah.
it's probably much easier to get into hockey than it would be to get into baseball.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Things happen
Mm-hmm.
in hockey.
But baseball, you can stat track and everything.
You
It's
can
amazing.
and I love baseball, but it's so much easier to watch hockey.
I still, to this day, I've said it for years. I want to go to an Indianapolis Indians game, the minor league baseball team here,
Yeah.
the AAA team. But
AAA is fun.
I really want to go and just get hammered and
That's-
watch some baseball.
That's what everybody does. Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
Anyway, so you've been listening to the Obsessive Sports Fan podcast.
Yeah. That's good.
No, who's next? Mike, do you want to?
Mike.
That's me. And man, I'm pulling up this list that I wonder if you saw the same list, Matt. and I guess I have to talk about Hook. Was one of my
Okay.
favorite movies
Awesome.
for so long. I love that movie. And it's really long for a kids movie. I remember it being really long for a kids movie. My brother, that was the first movie he got to see in theaters.
Oh,
And I remember
wow.
thinking that's such a cool first movie to have. Is Hook.
Yeah.
And he fell asleep very early on. But I was not. I'm sure my parents showed me the old Disney classics, the old animated classics, but I don't remember them that well, and I don't know if it happened all that much. I was weaned pretty early on just like the 80s comedies and those kinds of movies. So
Nice.
I was not so much familiar with the Peter Pan classic story. I, of course, didn't read the J.M. Barrie play or any of that stuff, and didn't know the animated. So Hook was my first experience with Peter Pan. And I remember like seeing some of the mythology later and being confused about what is going on. So I guess the nostalgia for me is anytime I see anything Peter Pan, be it the animated or whatever, I think of Hook, and I'm like, well, Hook is a definitive Peter Pan story.
That's cool. That's Spielberg, correct?
It is, yeah, of
Nice.
course,
Yeah.
of course.
Wow, I forgot that was Spielberg.
And a barely recognizable Dustin Hoffman as
Yes.
James Hook.
Wow.
Oh, just just so awesome.
It's
Nice.
a fantastic movie. Then like perfect, like whoever produced it, I assume Spielberg, was brilliant in the casting of Robin Williams, because
Yep.
you wouldn't think, for Robin Williams as Peter Pan, that just sounds so stupid, but
Yeah,
when you think about the heart of that story, it's about holding on to your childhood imagination. It's about being a kid, and Robin Williams just is that. He's a goofy guy who doesn't take things too seriously, even though he is a very, very good dramatic actor.
Yes.
I think he's best known for his comedy,
Absolutely.
and he's a very imaginative, improvisational comedic actor that I think harkens to a childlike imagination,
Yeah.
and he's perfect for that.
I agree. Well said.
If there's a yeah, very well said. If there's a movie that better exemplifies or better on film using your imagination than the scene where they imagine the food, the Lost Boys imagine the food and have the food fight, I haven't seen it. So I mean, it is the epitome of imagination and being a child and having fun in a movie.
Absolutely,
the epitome.
Yes,
that's awesome. Nice.
Yeah,
I like that. Good pick.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Is it my turn now?
Yeah, do another one.
I'm gonna go back to sports related stuff and bring up the world renowned classic Little Giants.
Yeah,
nice.
Good movie.
Yes, love that movie. I watched it. I think I own the VHS of it, and I watched it all day, every day for like a summer. And it was just, it's a classic. There's not much else you can say about it. It's amazing. I mean, who doesn't love the annexation of Puerto Rico? And Ed O'Neill is just amazing in it. That's another movie like House Arrest. It's set in Ohio, which I lived in Ohio at the time. And it was just like, I don't know. I love the brotherly kind of competition with Rick Moranis and Ed O'Neill, and it was just, it's a great movie. It's a great movie. A lot of fun. Do you guys have thoughts on that?
I'm looking at the cover of the DVD right now, and it's got the kids all lined up, like on one side, and then playing the Giants. Funny enough, who are like rivals to there's the Giants and the Cowboys, rivals in the NFL.
Oh wow,
that's pretty funny.
Nice.
And the girl's name is Icebox.
Yes,
which is funny. I imagine it is borrowed from William the Refrigerator Perry, played for the Chicago Bears.
Yeah,
sure.
I hope. I don't know.
Right.
You know, I think I've only seen that movie once, and I didn't really it wasn't. I didn't think it was a bad movie. I don't even remember it. I don't even remember Little Giants. I just didn't. For some reason, just never really connected to that movie. I don't know why.
Yeah, it feels to me like in the category with like The Big Green, like kids sports movies that I don't really remember. That just kids sports movies that weren't as good as Mighty Ducks.
Yeah, I will say Mighty Ducks is the better movie, obviously, but I don't know. I just have that nostalgic connection to Little Giants. Wow, I thought that it would get more love here.
Oh, it's good. I remember loving it when I was little, but I just didn't watch it, I guess, as much as you did.
So, Tiny, what's your excuse?
I think back then I was such a dork for soccer. I started playing soccer when I was 3 years old. No kidding.
Wow.
And I played soccer till I was like 13, and I became huge and looked like a freak out on the field. So I switched over to football. But yeah, at the time I was just a soccer. I loved The Big Green way more than Little Giants. And I think it's just because I was a soccer dork back then.
That makes sense.
So yeah.
The Big Green had the guy from. He was also in the Mighty Ducks, right? The goalie in The Big Green. I can't remember his name.
No, he was not in the Mighty Ducks.
Or am I thinking he was in something else? I know him from somewhere else. I can't place it though.
Yeah,
he was in The Sandlot.
The Sandlot,
right?
There you go.
Yep, he was Ham Porter from The Sandlot.
Yeah, you play ball like a girl.
Yeah, yep.
Oh man, The Sandlot, another one.
Yeah,
It's
another
great.
great kids sports movie.
Yeah.
It still didn't make me want to play baseball.
It doesn't make you want to play baseball?
Does not.
Oh, it does. One thing I don't like from that movie that always gets on my nerves is when James Earl Jones is talking to the kid about the Babes Called Shot.
Yeah.
You know, and he's like, bottom of the ninth, Yankee Stadium, and he points to the crowd. And I didn't notice it when I was a kid, but of course, growing up a Cubs fan and growing up a Chicago fan, Wrigley Field fan, later on I learned the called shot was in like the 5th inning, the 6th inning at Wrigley Field.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Huh.
So. Forget
I'm not
that
a baseball. I'm the opposite of a baseball guy. I think it's a great sport. Like it's just really, it's classic. It's American sport. It's classic. It's a skill game. But I absolutely cannot get into it whatsoever. I'm not anti-baseball. It's the opposite of a sport I would like. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the Sandlot is a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
So, Tiny, you're saying that you haven't watched Ken Burns' 9-part documentary on the history of baseball?
Not so much.
Okay.
That's funny.
I know what I'm getting you for Christmas then.
We will no longer be friends.
That's good.
Yeah.
Tiny,
Awesome.
what's your other nostalgia movie?
Next on my list is this one's a little different than the other two because it's a different time in my life. It's actually The Outsiders.
Ooh, nice.
Okay.
And I went with that. That just really makes me think of a time in my life when I was kind of between being a kid and a teenager. Sort of like my tween years, I guess.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest reason is because I read that book. I think I read it like right before 7th grade, and like I read that book, and I was like, the book is from the perspective of teenagers, but they have this great. All of them have this really great adult responsibility thrust upon them, and it's how they overcome all their issues. And I just remember, reading the book and thinking, man, I'm about to be a teenager. Am I going to have to do this kind of stuff? And I don't know. I really connected to it. I just remember that. That summer, I really got into reading for pleasure, and I would ride my bike to the local Speedway library, and I rented. I checked out every S.E. Hinton book, and
nice.
I like most of them. I ended up reading them all in one sitting. I would stay up till like 4 or 5 in the morning and read them all in one sitting. That was then, this is now. And
that was a great book.
That's a fantastic book.
I wish the movie did it better justice, but
yeah,
because I don't remember.
And,
right. Go ahead. Sorry.
And Tex and Rumblefish, loved all those books. And it just makes me think of that summer when I spent the whole summer reading. That's when I first discovered Stephen King as well. I checked out Christine from the library. I think that was the first Stephen King book I ever read.
Wow.
And just loved it. And it makes me think of that summer and, kind of transitioning into being a teenager a little bit. And I think S.E. Hinton is perfect for that. She's perfect for that.
I agree. About The Outsiders, what it's kind of neat is that I think Francis Ford Coppola directed it, right?
That sounds right, yeah.
Yeah, I think he did. It's a good movie. I mean, it's just all around a good movie and a great cast. A phenomenal cast, actually.
Ironically, in that the whole spiel, I didn't mention the movie, but
that's fine because it's nostalgia movies. I mean,
right? It actually ended up being the first DVD I ever bought for myself was The Outsiders.
Wow.
Like the following summer, because I saved up my money and actually bought a DVD player, and then the first one I ever bought was The Outsiders and watched it tons of times.
So what you're basically telling the world now is that you were a huge nerd as a kid.
Oh God, yes.
But did you collect action figures? Well, I guess as a kid, everybody collected action figures. That's dumb for me to say.
But the mark of it is if you still collect action figures.
Yeah, and that I do, my friends.
Nice.
That I do.
It's good.
I got a really nice Green Goblin the other day.
Nice.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Oh, that's great. Mike, what about you? What's next on your list?
Well, I'm torn among a bunch of movies. I thought about talking about Pulp Fiction, which is like if we're talking about the movie that made us love movies, mine would be Pulp Fiction.
Yes.
But I feel like I could go into that in a different podcast.
Right.
So I think I'm going to talk about the movie I have probably seen more than any other movie, and that's Billy Madison. Because it is just one of those movies when you're at that age and in the summer there's nothing to do but watch movies like every day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You just put it in and you just think it's the funniest thing. Like, it's rare for me to watch a movie more than a couple times, in a year.
Yeah.
Whatever. Even my favorite movies of the year, I'll watch 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's it. But man, there was a summer where I probably watched Billy Madison, at least 5 days a week for the summer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that your fiance has mentioned that she's not an Adam Sandler fan.
She doesn't like him, no.
Yeah, I remember her talking about how she rewatched a '90s Sandler movie and it just ruined it for her.
Yeah. Hate is the word.
Yes. Do you think was he ever like legitimately like hilarious, or is it just a mark of our childhood sensibilities watching it? Because I remember listening to his like kind of comedy sketch album, They're All Gonna Laugh at You, I think it was called.
Yeah.
I remember listening to that over and over and over and over again. And then I'm like, and I see like Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison on Netflix, and I'm like, I haven't watched them in a while, but I'm kind of like cautious about it because I'm like, I'm not a big fan of him now. Like these days, like Grown Ups, I wasn't too crazy about, and some of his other movies, but I'm kind of nervous. I don't want my memory to be ruined by that. So what's your take on that?
I don't know the answer. I feel like I'm as confused as you are. I don't know that he is particularly smart funny, but he knows what makes people laugh.
True.
And if you can give him that, then that's kind of all you had to ask for back then. The problem now is not that he isn't as funny as he used to be. Like when the quality of Grown Ups and the quality of movies like he does today, it's not that we've grown out of them. It's that they're really not as funny as they used to be.
That's where I was leaning towards too. I never saw Jack and Jill, and That's My Boy. And
it was awful. I was so mad at him for doing Jack and Jill, but I kind of liked Just Go With It. I thought it was pretty funny. But I'm sure if you watched Billy Madison and then you watched Jack and Jill, you would be able to clearly tell which one is the better movie.
Okay.
Clearly.
Talking about Jack and Jill just reminds me of a funny tweet that I saw. I can't remember who it was, but someone tweeted when it was released, like, "Wow, that Jill is really hot." Tiny, I know that you had some thoughts on That's My Boy.
Man, that movie.
Do you want to go ahead and jump in?
I actually really liked That's My Boy.
What?
I really did.
What are you talking about?
I laughed. I laughed quite a bit. I think the fact that it was rated R saved it completely, and they took full advantage of the R rating. I don't know. I thought if it would have been PG-13, like a lot of the stuff he's been doing, it would have just fallen flat. It wouldn't have been funny at all. But I think and I'm a bit biased because I love Boston accents, and he uses his voice is ridiculous in the movie, like he always likes to do.
Yeah.
But I think when it was mixed with the Boston accent, it saved it, because it's Boston people like that can be a little obnoxious, and I think mixing his obnoxiousness with that accent made it savable. And so yeah, I'm a little biased towards that, but I just thought that was funny, and just the fact that it was rated R, they just took full advantage of it and dropping F-bombs all the time, and just I don't know. I thought it was actually pretty funny. It was, again, it was stupid as hell. I can't defend it very much, but I laughed quite a bit. For what it was, I enjoyed it.
It had moments.
I might check it out just based on because I should see it just so I can be a tiebreaker here.
Yeah. Well, no, I feel like you're going to come down somewhere in the middle. I'm surprised that he's defending it as much as he is, but I mean, if we're talking about the low point of his career, Jack and Jill is it.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, That's My Boy is not nearly as bad as Jack and Jill.
They both got Razzies, so
yeah. Well, I think I think a lot of that is on Reputation now.
Yeah, that's true.
I think there are
true.
worse movies than That's My Boy that came out that year.
Oh, I'm sure.
So,
Yeah.
but Billy Madison, it holds up, and I love it.
Yeah, it does.
I can still quote it. It's part of my vernacular, embarrassingly enough. But but I love it. It's a good one.
Nice. I can't remember the actress in it, but wow, she was.
Oh, Veronica Vaughn.
Want to touch the hiney? Wow.
And you know what, though? Everyone who is listening to this podcast did that.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Did.
Oh yeah. Bridget Wilson.
Bridget Wilson.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bradley Whitford was in that. I completely forgot.
He
was.
was. Yeah.
Yeah. He was great.
Eric is a bad man. I won't do any more. That's it. That's all.
No, it's great.
That's it. Whoa, Miss Lippy. The part of the story I don't get, I won't really do all of that. Mostly because the punchline is a big F word.
It is, yeah. Can't get past that one.
Man, it's so good. Have you guys ever seen the TV version of it?
No, like the TV edit.
There's a bonus scene. There's a bonus scene of that movie that is I've only seen on TV, and I've got the DVD. I might not have watched the deleted scenes, but on the TV version of Billy Madison, there is a scene where he is with Juanita the maid. They're like packing up lunch, and he's like bummed out because Veronica Vaughn kicked him out of class. Ms. Vaughn kicked him out of class, and he's like, I don't know, I'm just sad. And he goes, I know, and she goes, I know what'll cheer you up. And I think she says something else in the theatrical version, but she goes, dodgeball. And they play a game of dodgeball. Or kickball.
Really?
Kickball, I mean. And they play a game of kickball. And it's so weird. It's like it's the people who work at the house are all playing kickball. I feel like Bradley Whitford is playing kickball. It's weird. It's weird.
Is it funny or is it?
I don't remember it being funny.
Okay.
Because mostly I think I was just so thrown.
Okay.
You know, what is this?
Yeah.
What is going on here?
Huh.
That's fantastic.
But that is all. That's the first time. That is my earliest memory of Steve Buscemi.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
As that guy.
Yeah. Mike, you don't watch Boardwalk Empire, do you?
Oh no, I don't.
No, you don't. He's like it's. I'm just going off on a tangent here. We'll get back to the topic, but Boardwalk Empire. It's just amazing to see Steve Buscemi as a leading man in that, and it's for someone who's just played like kind of like bit parts and being kind of a character actor. It's just so great to see him get a starring role in something that he's a phenomenal in it. But
He's
totally
great. I'm not surprised. All right, well, we're kind of running out of time here, Matt. Do you any last words?
I have 3 that I'm just gonna throw it out there.
Go for
it. And we don't really need to critique them too much, but Multiplicity.
Yeah, Michael Keaton.
Yes, Michael Keaton, Andy McDowell, Michael Keaton, and Andy McDowell. It's just a fantastic movie.
Never seen it.
She touched my pippy, Steve. It's fantastic. Tiny.
Never seen it.
Oh, you need to. You really need to. It's Michael Keaton cloning himself.
Right.
And each clone has a different like personality, and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
That and Blank Check. I mean, who as a kid didn't want?
Oh my gosh.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was just wish fulfillment.
Totally.
To the fullest. That and then the movie that began my kind of love of dogs. Homeward Bound: The Incredible Journey.
Nice.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Air Bud.
No.
Air Bud 2, Golden Receiver.
I kind of wanted to watch all the Air Bud movies. I watched like one of the Christmas ones, and it was just horrible. But
yeah, Homeward Bound.
Yeah, Homeward Bound,
so
fantastic.
Good.
When Shadow, I think it's Shadow falls in the little thing, and it's just, I mean, it tugs at the heartstrings.
Yep,
totally.
Have you guys ever seen the original? It's just called The Incredible Journey, and it's the same movie, but there's no voices.
Really?
Yeah, there's no there's no like dogs coming home. It's just these 3 dogs. My grandma got it for me.
Wow.
Mistakenly, I imagine, thinking that it was the good, Homeward Bound. But yeah, the incredible journey, and it's just them, and they get home, and it's not very good. It's really boring. Boring. 1963, The Incredible Journey.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
In Technicolor.
Yeah, I'll stick to Michael J. Fox. Michael J. Fox had a voice in there. Yeah,
He did.
Okay.
He was Chance.
Oh yeah, Chance.
Awesome.
Yeah, great movie.
Totally.
Mike, how about you? What are like your last?
Well, I could name a bunch. A lot of them are Christmas movies, and we could probably also save that for another episode.
Oh yeah.
Totally.
But I'll just whip off a couple. Free Willy is one that sticks out. I love.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
There's a movie called The Wizard where they play. The little boy wants to go to California, and they play in the video game competition, and they play Super Mario Brothers 3 with the Power Glove.
Wow.
I don't know. Yeah, look it up. But then there are movies that are notably bad that I've kind of like banned from my life that were incredibly nostalgic that I watched in my 20s and just said never again. One is Man of the House. We kind of watched that as a group with Chevy Chase and Jonathan Taylor Thomas. But Chevy Chase is so... Oh, my God. I love Chevy Chase, and Vacation is in my top 5 favorite movies of all time.
Oh, yeah.
And he is so not allowed to do anything that makes Chevy Chase. Mrs. Doubtfire, which I loved forever and is actually just incredibly frustrating to watch despite how much I love Robin Williams. And then the worst offender of them all, one movie that I watched every spring, actually every Easter for whatever reason, I don't know why, was Biodome. And I watched it maybe 5 years ago, and I will never watch it again.
Oh, man.
Pauly
Shore movies are just a podcast in itself, but
Yeah.
Biodome, I loved it as a kid, and I'm scared. That and Jury Duty, and both of them I'm scared to even watch again.
Be scared. Be very afraid.
I can't see them holding up in any way.
No, they don't. Tiny, any last words?
Not really. I think I nailed all mine. Nailed all mine down pretty well.
Nice.
Yeah. Sounds
Cool.
good.
Okay. All right. Well, this was fun, and to close us out, we're actually going to do something a little different, and instead of just doing what we're looking forward to, we're going to tack in what we've been watching and just pretty much anything that's on our minds. So, Tiny, do you want to start us out?
Sure. The only thing I really wanted to talk about was a movie I watched about a week ago. A little movie called Spring Breakers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. The reason I bring it up is because I have very mixed feelings on it. To start out with, it is absolutely ridiculous on so many levels. It is just, that is the first adjective that comes to mind when I think of the movie. It is ridiculous. I mean, just imagine James Franco in dreadlocks and gold teeth and tattoos and just absolutely, he's over the top ridiculous. But he was actually kind of good. I will give him credit.
Yep, I believe it.
It was, talk about playing against type. I mean, he's barely recognizable.
Wow.
But I think what the mixed feelings I have on it is that there's nothing particularly noteworthy about the movie in general, except I think it's a very creative film. Just on the fact that it's the way that it's shot, the directorial style of it. It has a very distinct tone to it. It reminded me a little bit of. The tone reminded me a little bit of Scarface, actually. The Brian De Palma one, which is weird because it's about chicks going on spring break. But when you see it, you'll understand the ambition of it, the underlying ambitious tone to it. Okay. It was different than I thought it would be. I was impressed with it from a creative standpoint, but it's ridiculous. The characters are terrible people. They're obnoxious. If I met them in real life, I would hate all of them. and I hate what they do. They're not likable. It's hard to defend it. I don't know. I just think it had something to it. It was an interesting watch. I recommend watching it just to see how you'll feel about it. I'm sure there's a lot of people who I know there's a lot of people who hate it, and I can't really argue against that because it's a pretty wild film. But I just thought creatively it was interesting. I'll put it that way. It held my interest.
Okay, I'll have to check that out. And you saying that everyone, like, you hate everyone in it, just makes me think of Bachelorette, which I thought was just a dreadfully awful movie. Mike, I assume that you've seen Spring Breakers. Do you have some thoughts on that?
No, I actually haven't seen it.
Wow.
Yeah, it was on my list, and it never came to theaters around here.
Oh, I see. I thought
so
it had
I was
a wider
unable
release.
to see that. No.
Okay.
Did
Wow.
not.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say because I mean, for our listeners, Mike goes to the theater every week.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And for the most part, I'm able to see everything new and everything I want to see, but every now and then something will slip through the cracks. I'm hoping Fruitvale Station stays in just long enough to where I can squeeze in a watch of that. But
yeah, I look forward to your thoughts on that because I really enjoyed it. It was a good movie.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You enjoyed watching him die.
Right.
You're a good person.
Mike, do you have any parting thoughts or anything to share?
Well, I have all kinds of things to share, but I'll talk about one movie watch I had a couple days ago. I watched the U.S. version of the movie Funny Games. You guys seen this movie?
Is that the horror movie with?
Terror movie, I guess. Naomi Watts, Tim Roth, and a couple of preppy guys.
Yeah,
and it was a shot-for-shot remake of the Austrian version, directed by the same guy, which makes me wonder.
Yeah, same director.
Michael Haneke, I guess is how you pronounce his name. And it made me wonder why. It was a strange movie. I really loved it for a little while, and then it got to a point where it was just so... it's obviously, and they kind of beat you over the head with it, pun intended, I guess, a commentary on violence in movies. But there's violence in the movie. I don't understand. I guess I'm just confused with how much violence there is. I guess they don't show some of it on screen.
Right.
If you haven't seen the movie, it's about this couple who is staying at their lake house for a little while, and these two young neighbors come by and they just start to terrorize the family. It's called Funny Games because they play little games with them. It's like they make a bet. We bet that you will die before in 12 hours. And
wow!
You bet that you live. And basically, it's just that they terrorize this family for a while. It's good for a little while. It really, really, really drags at points. And then
it does.
There are some break the fourth wall moments that I can't get on board with. I guess I'll leave spoilers out of it.
Okay,
but
good because I haven't seen it.
Yeah, but there is one point in particular that really I can't find a reason why the director chose to do this. And I think that's when the movie totally loses me. It was entertaining. I was disturbed at points, but more confused than delighted by the movie. Interesting.
Tiny, what's your take on it?
I agree with that pretty much 100%.
You've seen both versions,
I think it had...
You?
I haven't, actually. I've
okay.
just seen the American one. Yeah.
Okay. Uh-huh.
And actually, Michael Pitt plays one of the home invaders.
Jimmy Darmody.
Yep, from Boardwalk Empire.
Yeah.
I agree with what Mike said. Initially it was a very disturbing film, and it had a good style to it. The style lent itself very well to the subject material.
Yeah.
To the subject matter. And it had a very good voyeuristic feel to it to start out with.
Yeah.
But then it fell off, like he said. It got a little too ridiculous. I think I know the part that he's talking about, but yeah, it it started well and it had some good points, but it just didn't pan out the way that it should have. I hate to hinge my whole opinion on a movie with the way that it ended or how it ended up,
Right.
but it just affected
It's
it too
hard
much.
not to with that movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. I think I'll check it out.
It's definitely worth a watch in my opinion.
Nice. Okay.
Cool.
As for me, I mean, yesterday I watched Sunshine, which that's one of my favorite movies.
Totally.
Danny Boyle, sci-fi, Cillian Murphy, Rose Byrne, Chris Evans. It's just a great movie.
The good version of Armageddon.
Yeah. It's just, if you haven't seen it, it's a great watch. It's astronauts flying to the sun to reignite it, and all hell breaks loose. And it's just good points about faith and logic, and faith versus logic and reason and everything. So yeah, I mean, it's really good. And then also something interesting happened this week or last week. I got in the mail a little card from Nielsen.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, asking for a survey and all that, or saying that they were sending me a survey, and then they sent a survey and all that, and I'm going to fill it out and send it in, and then maybe I'll post it on the blog if I hear back from him. But all I kept thinking is that the first episode of this podcast, I mentioned that I mentioned Nielsen ratings specifically. Nielsen ratings are so
old-fashioned in their collection
antiquated,
techniques.
so horribly shouldn't exist now.
Yeah.
Because it's all based on, essentially they look at a few indicators and then
Yep.
use sampling data to fill out the rest of the stats.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And
So it's not even an accurate representation.
not at all.
Mm-mm.
One guy falls asleep watching CBS, and suddenly 2.5 Men is the greatest show ever.
Well, yeah, because it could be just that one guy is a signal that probably 45% of the people in his area are watching it.
Exactly.
That's like,
That's-
even though
yeah.
he's sound asleep,
It's ludicrous.
and he's probably on the
Exactly.
internet watching YouTube cat videos
Yeah.
while
Yep.
it's on in the background.
That's weird. It almost makes you wonder if they listen to the podcast.
If they
know?
did, I don't think they would send me a survey, because as you could tell, I
Yeah.
didn't really have nice words about it.
Right.
But yeah, and it's just funny because the back of the envelope of the survey is just, it says like we've been handling the TV ratings for over 50 years, and I'm like, that's the problem.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, so that's interesting. I'll see what happens. I don't know if I'll hear back from them or anything and all that, but
Well, cool.
yeah. So it'll be interesting. I'll throw it on the blog if it comes to it. But yeah.
Cool.
Well, do we have anything else, or should we wrap it up?
I think that's it for me.
Same here.
All right. Well, I'm Matt. You can find me on Twitter at Obsessive Viewer. Tiny, you can find him at Obsessive Tiny, and Mike is at I am Mike White, and we like to tweet about what we're watching, all that stuff. And you can also check out the blog at obsessiveviewer.com, and check us out on Facebook. Hit us with a like on Facebook at facebook.com/theobsessiveviewer. Yeah, and also I've been editing for houseofgeekery.com, Funk's House of Geekery. It's just houseofgeekery.com, just all around geek related stuff and everything. And I think I'm actually going to start contributing for them pretty soon. So it'll be fun. And it's a cool website. Definitely a lot of content, a lot of stuff to check out there. So be sure to check that out.
Listeners, if there's anything in particular you want to hear us talk about, if there's a movie you're looking forward to and you want to know what we think about it, if there are movies that you feel are particularly nostalgic to you, anything like that, be sure to leave us a comment, tweet any of the three of us, and let us know what you think. But more than anything, thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you, Mike, for that. I forgot to mention that. You can also send us an email at ovpodcast@gmail.com. Anything that you want us to talk about or review, just, hit us with that. Like someone actually asked me to review the color purple, and I have a whole plan. Yeah,
Cool.
Like that kind of set off this thing where I'm like, I have a list of Steven Spielberg movies paired up for just a bunch of double features. So I'm going to get to that eventually. Maybe it'll be an ongoing feature on the blog. I originally thought that I'd do like a Spielberg week, but I mean that's kind of stressful.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be ready for it until like December anyway. So maybe I'll do it just one at a time. Or two at a time, but yeah. So again, thanks for listening, guys. And hit us with a review on iTunes if you want. Thanks. It's been fun.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, Tiny, do you want to do it since it's kind of your turn for the intro? Even though, I mean, we're gonna record
We're
it
all so
before.
hesitant.
Yeah. It's like we're junior high students at a dance.
Exactly.